But we're now in the third generation of the internet. In fact, there's 4 generations of internet that we can clearly see if we look. And so I thought I'd just talk through those 4 generations today. They take place in 10 phases. And we're in the 6th phase of the third generation of the internet. And you may be thinking, oh, what's he talking about? But the 6th phase is the internet of value, the value web. That's where we are right now. And that fundamentally redefines trade, finance, banking, insurance, financial services, everything that we do, which is why it's really important. So let's talk about the first generation of internet to begin with. And the first generation was obviously building the internet, building the network, putting the wires down, getting TCP/IP, Ethernet, Banyan Vines, dial-up modems, broadband, getting it working. Now it's all Wi-Fi, but 30 years ago, it was all about wires. It was all about how did we connect to this network. Once we had a network, we could actually use it for something, and what we used it for mainly is advertorials. So most companies put their websites online saying, here we are, this is what we do. This is our online marketing brochure. And having put something online to say, here we are, this is what we do, this is our marketing brochure, you needed a way to find it. So we got Yahoo, Lycos, Ask Jeeves, eventually Google as search engines to find the information that was out there. Once we could find companies, we could buy from companies. And so finally, by the end of the 1990s, in this first generation of the internet, we built the ability to buy and sell online. So Alibaba with Alipay, Amazon, eBay, PayPal, various companies generating businesses online that could buy and sell between companies and to consumers. But during that first 15-year cycle, which is quite slow build, everything was actually controlled. Everything was in the hands of businesses and governments to manage the internet as we were dealing with B2C, business to consumer. So it was one to many. Everything was controlled by the one to the many. Now that changed fundamentally when we got into the last decade, in the 2000s, and we saw the second generation internet, Web 2.0, arising, where we could share stuff between individuals, between ourselves. We could write blogs, we could produce YouTube videos, we could be disruptive because no one could control what we were saying anymore because we were saying it to each other through peer-to-peer connections. So the control started to crumble. And it really was destroyed by the social network because now we couldn't just share stuff, we could care about the stuff we were sharing, and we could share it in real time and care about it in real time and go viral in real time. You could get a message now from this room to be connected globally in the next 15 seconds. We could never do that before. And so suddenly everything changed because in Web 2.0, it was all about consumer to consumer, citizen to citizen, peer-to-peer connectivity in a socialized sense that just changed the world of how we think about relationships. But what was missing in Web 2.0 is the ability to actually have commerce, trade, finance, and other activities taking place because we didn't have a currency to exchange value. Our currency in the social network was likes, favorites, and shares, but we wanted something more than that, which is why the value web becomes the underpinning of the next generation of internet, the third generation of internet, Web 3.0. And so I mentioned that we've gone through a number of phases. To build Web 1.0 and 2.0 were 5 phases. The network itself, the access to the network, the information on the network, the supply and demand on the network, through to sharing and caring on the network, through to exchanging value on the network, the internet of value. And this is what we're doing now, which is actually really redefining how we think about banking, payments, insurance, investments, wealth, everything we do. Because it's about peer-to-peer connectivity through the mobile network to exchange value in real time as part of our socializing and caring and sharing. And what do we mean by that? I guess there's 2 real things that change the game. And the one thing that really changed the game that Rob's already alluded to is mobile, because mobile has put the internet into our pockets and purses 24/7. Before, we had to go somewhere to get on the network. We had to go to our desktop, or we had to boot up our laptop. Now we just are there, 24/7. We used to have a work-life balance because we had to go to our desk to do stuff. We now no longer have a work-life balance because we're integrating work and life all the time through the network. When you go to bed and wake up in the morning, probably the first thing you do is look at your mobile. What's happening in Facebook, in Twitter, in WeChat, in email even. Now we have to work out how the tech life balance comes out, because the technology has integrated into our lives so fundamentally that we don't actually look at each other over dinner anymore. We look at our devices. The relationships are in the devices. And the challenge of having relationships in devices for most financial institutions is that they have built themselves on a physical structure of face-to-face relationships through bricks and mortar networks. Now we're dealing with digital infrastructure with relationships through data on devices, and that turns our business models on its head. That's what Digital Bank was all about, the fact that we built the financial institutions in the last century for the physical distribution of paper in a localized network. And now we're dealing with the digital distribution of data in a globalized network. How do you rebuild the business model to cater for that? That's a huge challenge. BBVA estimating that 95% of customer contact is remote within the next couple of years. I was at a presentation the other day from a UK retail bank who said that 20% of their customers haven't actually been in the bank or online with the bank in the last year. They purely dealt with the bank through their mobile app. So 1 in 5 customers are only dealing with the bank in the last year on a mobile app. That's purely the way the relationship is. And we think branches are important. They are, but more as a basis of trust than as a basis of business. And we can debate that later. Because the challenge for most incumbent institutions is, because of mobile internet, how do you deal with the customer remotely?